All right, you ready for Turf Today first?
Yeah, what's going on?
I'm going through the drive-through. I need some food.
Okay, you order, and I'll try and guess what restaurant you're at.
Oh, yeah? All right.
See how easy this is.
They might give it away when I first roll up.
Maybe.
Will you be using the
See? I don't know. No, thank you. What can I do for you? Can I get a number 9 large with a Diet Coke, please?
Jackass.
That's it. Did you hear it?
A 9 with a Diet
Number
Coke?
9.
That could be anything.
Just put on some headphones and jumped on my machine. And I'm cutting rough and it's coming up all nice and clean. My homie's right behind me and he got some stuff to spring. All together now. Let's maintain that turf today, that turf today, that turf today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Turf Today, recorded on the Superintendent Network and presented by Toro. I'm Adam Kershane, and we've got a fun one lined up for you today. Before we get started, you'll notice that things sound a little bit different this week. My co-host, Brian Laurent, is on the road making the drive home from Saucon Valley, so he's joining us straight from the truck. We figured instead of trying to juggle schedules again, we'd bring everybody along for the ride. So if you hear a little road noise or someone taking a order through a drive-thru, just know that this episode is happening here in real time. Our guest this week is PJ Greeno, Assistant Superintendent at the West Course at Johns Island Club in Florida. And PJ's story into the turf industry is one that I don't really think we've heard before. It all started with a random game of Call of Duty, which led to a friendship and eventually a career in golf course maintenance. Since then, he's worked through a major renovation, served as a grow-in superintendent on a new build, volunteered at some of golf's biggest events, including working at Augusta National. Nowadays, PJ is helping maintain one of the most premier private clubs in the country. We're also diving into the importance of mentorship and why it's never too late to get into the turf industry. And of course, one of the funniest prank stories we've ever had on the podcast, involving a cup cutter and what looked like a very unfortunate surprise at the bottom of the golf hole. It's a great conversation with plenty of laughs, some very valuable career advice, and a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected paths lead to the best careers. So sit back and enjoy the ride.
Howdy.
Live from the road.
Live from the road.
What's going on, big guy?
Heading home about 2 hours later than anticipated, but it's all good.
Yeah, it's part of it, right?
It is part of the deal. So I apologize for all the issues. I had it on my calendar that I was going home yesterday, and that was clearly not the case.
Yeah, no, it happens. It's always fun to do a little car cast.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. As long as I don't miss any turns, I'm golden.
Got to try and listen to us and the GPS at the same time, right?
Yeah. Fortunately, it's a lot of turnpike, so I think I'm safe.
Mm-hmm. Was a pretty good trip for you?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was an absolute blast. Yeah, was at Saucon Valley for the Junior Am, and anyone that knows anything about my backstory, it's that was home. That's where I grew up, and so it's just extremely special to have the opportunity to go there and be a part of the championships there, and the team is just always so welcoming. So yeah, it was just an absolute blast being there, and got to see a ton of people and explore all the golf courses, and yeah, so it was magical, no question.
Fun. That's fun. So special to go back to those spots. Did you run into anybody you weren't expecting to see that was kind of a blast from the past?
No, I wouldn't say that. I saw, there's still a couple guys that worked alongside my dad, a couple guys that he actually hired that still work there. And so I was I was pretty much expecting to see some of those guys. No, yeah. And then, I always run into a handful of volunteers that that are at other courses that I've been to, or that have hosted other tournaments and stuff. So it's, it's always nice reconnecting with those guys. And I call them the wrong name probably every single time. And, but we get through it. We get through it.
Yeah.
But,
That's
yeah.
Meet so many different people. And so it's just,
Yeah. So no, it was awesome. Got to actually, got to go to one of the houses that I lived in out here. So it's where Jim lives now. So got to go over there last night and hang out and see how it's changed. Probably the first time I stepped foot in that house in 20 some years. So it was cool to go in there and see it.
yeah, that's special.
Oh, dude, it was great.
From early morning checks to end of day tasks, the Toro Vista is built to support your daily routine. With gas or electric options and a steel bed for your tools and supplies, Vista delivers a smooth, reliable ride. One that can take you from the shop to the clubhouse, interacting with members and surveying your crew. It's quiet, it's comfortable, and customizable to your horse's brand. Vista is built for work and made to move. Get your go-to work vehicle today at toro.com/buildyourworkman. Only from Toro.
The highlight of the trip by far was having a special guest host for one of the video interviews that I did with Jim. Jay-Z was out here. Jim worked for Jay-Z at Sand Ridge. Whenever Jim hosts a championship, he comes out and spends a couple days. So Jay-Z actually did the interview of Jim for me. So I had those two guys mic'd up, sitting in a cart. I fed Jay-Z some questions, and he conducted the probably 30-minute interview for me. So it was awesome. Not sure how much of it I'm going to be able to use, but it was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, no, it'll be a good one. Definitely looking forward to that. PJ, what's going on, brother?
Nothing much. Just finishing up for the day and looking forward to talking to you guys and introducing myself.
Yeah, 100%. So Brian's on his way home from Saucon Valley. He's in the car. He had to stay a few extra hours there, so wasn't able to make it home in time. But we got him in the vehicle. Sounded like you guys had a little staff lunch or something like that today, a little party.
Yeah, our director of equipment and our director of agronomy grilled up some steak tacos and all the salsa, rice, all that good stuff for the guys today. We just finished our second aerification, so it's busy. We had a busy week down here in South Florida.
That's awesome.
Good week, nice and warm down here.
That's awesome. PJ, I appreciate your flexibility and patience with us. Has coordinated some schedules here, but yeah, it's great to have you on the show. And we always like to kick these things off by giving you the floor here to introduce yourself. So tell us who you are, where you are, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, my name's PJ Greeno. I'm the assistant superintendent at Johns Island West Course in Vero Beach, Florida. I've been down here for a little over a year and a half. It'll be 2 years in October. Originally, I grew up in Ohio, a little town in southern Ohio called Wheelersburg. Kind of grew up, went to high school there, and then eventually made the move south to Chattanooga, Tennessee. Got in the golf industry and spent about 7 to 8 years there, and then recently made the move to South Florida, trying to stay a little warm and keep moving south from the cold weather. Not a big fan of it.
Brian, do you know where that town is in Ohio?
Yeah, I've definitely heard of it. So are you a Buckeye fan then, PJ?
Oh yeah, big Buckeye fan.
That's fun. So take us through your story a little bit, because it's a little bit of a different one. I know you got your start a little bit differently than most people. So take us through kind of the journey, because I know you were superintendent at one point and now kind of back to assistant.
Yep. So originally when I made the move from Ohio down to Tennessee, kind of wanted to just get in the golf industry. Kind of wanted to do the business side of things, and I didn't know that the turf side was a thing, honestly. Obviously, I knew there was people that took care of a golf course, but I didn't know it was to the extent that it is. So I went from just a pro shop attendant to a grounds crew worker really overnight, and went through a pretty big renovation right out of the gates, and just kind of never went back to the business side of things. Kind of just started as the regular grounds crew guy. I worked my way up at the same course, little resort course called McLemore in Northwest Georgia. We had a crew of 10 to 12 guys, and just worked my way up. Went through the Penn State 2-year certificate program, which was a little painful as a Buckeye, but
Yeah, no
it is
kidding.
what it is. But
So it's a
finished
good
that
school.
up.
It's okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of the best. Finished that up, got moved up into an assistant role, and just kind of ran from it from there. We ended up building a second golf course up on the mountain in Georgia, and I kind of got moved into like a growing superintendent role, and got to run a crew and do a lot of the main quality control things and grow in with that course. And it was tough, really tough. It's going through the renovation was the original renovation was fun. Wasn't all that difficult, challenging, especially as a crew guy. But fast forward a couple of years to going through that construction as a ground superintendent, and you're battling a million different things, from weather to trying to hire a staff to funding to equipment to grassing, a million different things. And you really learn kind of what the industry is at that point. Like you see anything and everything in the turf industry, and kind of just took a step back, and always wanted to kind of get to Florida. That was kind of my dream spot. And the job here at Johns Island opened up, and I had he was our old mechanic. I was pretty good friends with the director of agronomy down here, Michael Scott, and got me in touch with him, and one thing led to another, and here I am. I kind of took a step back, as you could call it, I guess, title wise, but at the end of the day, it's just a title, and it's just another a stepping stone, or a good building block to put on the resume.
Dude, that's awesome. You said a little resort called McLemore. That
Mhm.
place is phenomenal, man. Don't undersell that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I was gonna say I've seen some of the views from that place. I mean, that's literally sitting on a mountaintop, looking out
Oh
over
yeah.
everything, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So the original course, which is called the Highlands, the 18th hole sits along a bluff. I think it's something like 200 feet below, like kind of the clubhouse and the rest of the property. And so that hole wasn't there before the renovation. Bill Bergen kind of found that down on a little scouting trip with a drone, and it was pretty cool how he did it. He's kind of stumbled down there and would walk through the thicket, and somehow managed to figure out how to put a golf hole there. But it's quite the hole. Now, maintenance wise, it's a little challenge trying to get all the equipment down there, sprayers, all that stuff. But it's quite the golf hole. Pretty interesting. Really nice place.
How challenging was it to build that new golf course there, kind of on that mountain?
Yeah. So the new course is incredibly difficult. Just being on the mountain. Well, first of all, I think we cleared something like 150 acres or 175 acres of trees. It's just a ginormous property. So between the land clearing and getting all the stumps and roots and kind of all that dug out, and thankfully we were able to burn quite a bit of stuff up there, burn permits and all that. So that ate up a lot of the winter up there. Once that happened, it was a lot of fill and a lot of cut on property, and being on a mountain, there's a lot of rock. Um, so we had quite the problem with trying to get rock out. We had to dynamite a lot of rock. I probably have 10 minutes
Nice.
worth of dynamite explosion videos, just making irrigation ponds, blowing out fairways, blowing out, greens complexes, all that stuff. And that was probably the coolest part, but it was also the most challenging part.
Is that where the connection to Call of Duty kind of came in?
So actually, Call of Duty, when I was in high school, I was a big football player. Originally, I wanted to go play college football, kind of all that stuff, but dealt with a lot of injuries. So I kind of picked up the little gaming controller and hopped on Call of Duty. And one thing led to another. I met some random guy in the lobby and started playing together, whatever. We were pretty good. And kept playing a couple nights a week, and it led to, doing some like Clash of Clan type stuff and getting a clan and all that stuff. Well, one thing led to another, and it turned out he had a lot of similar interests. He was in the golf industry, played college sports, athlete, all that stuff. Had a lot in common. And I left Marshall. I was in college at Marshall University for nursing, and I just kind of got tired of nursing one day, and I was like, I just don't want to go to school anymore. Like, I just want to find a job, start working. So I moved back home, and this was a couple years after the whole met this guy on Call of Duty. And I texted him, I was like, hey, Brandon, like, what's the golf industry like? Like, I'm not good at golf. I'm willing to work at it. Like, I want to get into it. And, he was an assistant pro, called Canyon Ridge, which would later become McLemore. And so we kind of talked, and I came down and kind of looked at the course and went through like kind of like a little interview, and he got me a job in his pro shop. And so, he was one of my best friends. I still talk to him yet to this day. He's actually the head pro at McLemore now. So, we kind of joke around about it, a lot. Like, if it wasn't for Call of Duty, I wouldn't be in Florida. Two, I wouldn't be in the golf industry. And three, I wouldn't have a pretty crazy story on how I got into golf. But yeah, Call of Duty kind of led me to the golf industry, and that was kind of how it started. Pretty interesting.
That's wild. That is wild, man. You weren't worried about getting catfished?
No. So actually, I had met him a couple times before moving down to Tennessee. The first time's another story. It's while I was at Marshall University. He called me up and he was like, "Hey, I got a tee time at the Greenbrier, and if you wanna drive over here and play, like we have an extra spot." And I was like, "Yeah, like sure. Just cancel all my classes. Don't worry about it. Skip them. I don't care." So that was probably not the smartest thing to do, but it was a free round of golf at the Old White, so made there's like a 3.5 hour drive over to the Old White, played golf, and actually I got over there, my car broke down over there, so I had to call up my parents who weren't too fond of me skipping class to go play some golf, so they had to drive like an extra 4.5 hours to pick me up and tow my car back. So that was a whole fiasco, which was another good story.
Life lesson, right?
White Sulphur Springs is not the place to have a breakdown.
No, it's not. We had to leave my car parked in a Dollar General parking lot for like 3 weeks before, because to tow it back to college was like something like $800. And I'm like, that's a lot of money. So we got a AAA membership, paid the $40 a month or something, and had to leave my car sitting in this Dollar General parking lot for like 3 weeks before it would take into effect. Then we just called him up like, "Hey, yeah, we get this towed back to Huntington, West Virginia real quick." And so yeah, that was a couple life lessons there. And looking back at it, it wasn't quite too funny that night or even a couple days afterwards, but we all kind of get a good laugh about that now. So that was that's a good one. A great course too, by the way, if you've never been there.
Play it post flood.
It was actually pre-flood, so I played it. I think it would have been maybe 1 or 2 years before I stopped hosting the Greenbrier Classic there.
Nice. So you mentioned taking nursing in school. What was the motivation for getting into that?
growing up in a small town, there was, no real big career opportunities. Everybody kind of was either a correctional officer at the state prison down the road, a teacher, which at that I didn't want to be a teacher. But other than that, there was, fast food work, nothing real big. And then there was a hospital, and I always had a thing for like helping people out and being there for others and stuff like that. And so I thought, why not, go to school to help save lives and change lives. And ultimately it didn't work out. But the way I look at it, I still have a knack for kind of helping others out and helping people out. And being in the golf industry, I get to, I'm here at 4:30 every morning, helping get in this course, in the best shape possible for, whether it's 10 members and guests to come out and enjoy, or a full tee sheet of 180. So for me, while it's not necessarily saving lives and anything like that, it's nothing too important. I still get to go out and make a difference to, a family on vacation, or, someone that's, spending, thousands of dollars a month to enjoy the facilities. So yeah, it's kind of one of the reasons why I stuck to the golf industry, and how I kind of tie it to nursing. Not nearly as important. I have a lot of nursing friends and all that stuff, but for me, it's the way I look at it is still able to help out some people and provide people with memories that they don't forget.
Well, that's awesome, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
You're kind of like a turf nurse now, right? Getting to go out on the course
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the health of the golf course as opposed to the health of the people in the hospital.
yeah. Everyone's like, oh, so you kind of went from being, wanting to be a nurse and working on people, so now you're you just cut grass, right? I'm like, no, I don't just cut grass, but
That's not how it
then we
works.
have this 20-minute conversation. They're like, man, like grass is like, it's just like a person. I'm like, yeah, like, it catches diseases, it catches, it can get sick, it can, be unhealthy, and it's my job to keep it healthy. And so it kind of go hand in hand a little bit.
Yeah, still
Yeah.
scratch that itch a bit.
So tell us about the property down there.
Yeah. So we sit on, we're about 2 to 3 miles inland, off the Atlantic Ocean. We sit on probably a little over 140 acres total, I think it is. Really, really big sand. We're built on sand dunes. So super, super dry, firm, tight, fast conditions down here always. Lot of sand. We probably have just as much native sand that we do turf grass, which is quite difficult to maintain. And so when I first moved down here, actually, I moved down 4 days before Hurricane Milton came through. Now, thankfully, yeah, that was another questionable life decision. But so I get down here and I didn't know the property, I didn't even know how to get around the golf course. No idea what holes were what, anything like that. First 2 days were great. They were half days. We're getting ready for this hurricane. I was working until 12 o'clock. Thank God, it's great. And Wednesday rolls around, and Florida had the most recorded hurricanes in state history that day.
Ooh.
It was crazy. I was, just trying to make sure I was safe and kind of watch the news, and I had people blowing my phone up like, "Hey, where are you at?" Like, I'm like, "Listen, I am in Vero Beach, Florida. That's all I know. I will let you know in about 2 or 3 hours when all this blows through that I'm all right, but please just leave me alone. Like, try not to get sucked up by a tornado right now. Like, thanks for being worried, but I'll text you guys later." And so that was day 4 after I moved down here, and then day 5, I guess the so-called hurricane got to us. I think it was only a Category 1 maybe when it got to the East Coast. And it dumped like 16 inches of rain in a
Oof.
little over a day. It was an ungodly amount of rain. Go into work the next day, and our irrigation pond. We don't have too much water on our course for being a Florida course, but we do have one really big pond, kind of between 13, 14, 18. And then we have our irrigation pond that's kind of on holes 4 and 5. Well, the pond on 4 and 5, our irrigation pond, it basically stretched from the pump house across 4 fairway, across 1 fairway, across 2 fairway, and then attached to a smaller pond that's kind of out of the way, beside 3. So if you were to ever see the course, you could have gotten from our maintenance facility to the pump house, which is probably one of the furthest points away, uh, by a kayak, and
Oh my
it was
God.
all it was all connected. And so down here we don't have concrete cart paths; it's all screenings, like crushed up seashells, sand, stuff like that. So the washouts were just
Oof.
mind-boggling, and you know, being here for one total day, I worked 2 half days before it got here. I had no idea what hats were what, and I had no idea what water was supposed to be where. And then obviously
Jeez.
being in Florida, I knew alligators are a big thing. So I was like, should I drive through that? Like, am I gonna like lose a foot or something? Like, an alligator gonna pop up? Like,
Oh man.
so we spent about 2 weeks getting. We had like 4 or 5 little like 1 to 2 inch trash pumps going, and then we had a big 6 inch diesel pump going that would run 18 hours a day, just trying to pump water into ponds off of fairways, grass. Um, so we finally got the course cleared of water, and it was nice to be able to drive the course 1 through 18 about 2 weeks after I had started, to finally start to learn the golf course. But the cleanup from that was it was something I had never seen before, and that's saying a lot after going through a renovation and a construction. Just the washouts, the debris, like we missed a lot of the wind from the hurricane, but just the debris that got washed in from off property or washed in from God knows where, with the water running through property was mind blowing.
You were just looking
And
forward to getting down there and working on a real
yeah,
golf course, and it's like, what
yeah,
is happening?
yeah. I just left a place I was, working 6:30 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night during a construction, to thinking, all right, like it's gonna be, a little earlier start, but I'll be out of here by 3 o'clock, something like that in the afternoon. No, it was our schedule was 7 in the morning to about 7 at night, about 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and then we had half for 7 to like 3 on Saturday and Sundays, and that was for a solid probably 3 weeks to get the
Just
course
grinding.
back open and in shape. Yeah, like where do you start? And being at the club I'm at, Johns Island, that led us we kind of did a little mini bunker renovation, you could call it, while we were closed.
There you go.
Not that it was planned, but
Yeah.
all the sand washed out, so we just kind of ripped all that sand out, put fresh new sand in all the bunkers. It let us kind of redo all of our cart paths. Um, yeah, so we got to do a bunch of stuff, um, that probably wouldn't have happened, um, right away, kind of in the plans, but later in the year or the following summer. Um, so that was good with the club being flexible and letting us stay closed for a couple extra weeks to kind of knock out a couple things, to get ready for all the snowbirds, as we call them, to come down here, for the season.
And you probably didn't get many extra hands.
We have a pretty decent sized crew, but it was all hands on deck. And
Yeah.
think we have, as a club, we have 54 holes. So my 18, the West Course, we're inland, and then the other 36 They're kind of across the bridge and across the Indian River, or pretty much on the ocean. And it's about a 15-minute drive down A1A. And so, I mean, they had their own set of problems to deal with. They might have missed a little bit of the rain, but they had a little bit more wind, or a little bit, different type of cleanup. And so
Yeah.
it would have been nice to say, hey, can we steal 20 of your guys to come over and help out, or call up a couple courses to see if they have anybody that they want to lend us. But everybody everybody was kind of in the same mode that we were in, and it was cleanup mode. And so we just kind of pick one project, get that knocked off, and check that off the list, and then just keep on working down your list until you get it all figured out and all cleaned up.
Well, I'll be honest, when we were talking about you coming on, I actually looked up the golf course and I was like, oh my gosh, because it wasn't one that I had recognized before. I don't know if it's a little more of a hidden gem, but top 25 course in the world, might even be top 20 at this point. So it's a beautiful course. Just tell us about, working there, a little bit of the history and just sort of your day to day.
Yeah, so I believe the course it's going on, I think maybe 20 years old, 15, 20 years old. Our West course. I think the club was founded, I want to say in the 70s or 80s. I'm not too sure, which isn't the best. But when it was originally built by, I believe it was Fazio, was the original designer. And then I believe it was 4 years ago, they came in and did a redesign on it. And I guess what you see now is drastically different than what it was before. Before, it used to be kind of just this traditional tree lined, course, a lot of rough fairways, nothing too native, minimal sand, minimal water. And then they would even overseed with ryegrass, because we're all Bermuda down here. And so they kind of went through, did a renovation, and they changed a bunch. I've seen some pictures of the original course, and all the native sand that they freed up and made visible. Changed a bunch of greens complexes, tee complexes, kind of made fairways, made it more playable for the players, less penalizing. And now we're all Bermuda. We're pretty far south, south enough that we stay green all year round. So no overseeding, nothing like that, which is, in my eyes, a little bit of a pain. I did it a little bit at my last place, and just it's nice it's south enough to stay green, but it's north enough to where it's really slows down in the wintertime, and we mow everything outside of greens maybe once or twice a week. Greens, as needed, and we keep our greens, rolling in that 13 to 13 and a half range for the season. And so they stay pretty quick. And we're not very traditional when it comes to Florida greens. A lot of people think of just big kind of subtle undulations down here in Florida. We're not. We are big undulations, and it can be very tricky if you miss a green around here. So it's quite different.
This episode of Turf Today is also brought to you by Back 9 Irrigation. And Back 9 Irrigation helps golf courses diagnose irrigation problems faster, saving time, money, and unnecessary parts replacement. Our pneumatic irrigation test station uses the shop air you already have in your maintenance facility to test casings, solenoids, bottom valves, pilot valves, and internals, making sure they're field ready before they ever go back into the ground. They also offer nationwide field service, hands-on training, and technical support for golf course irrigation systems. Stop guessing. Diagnose first, replace second, save money. Learn more at back9irrigation.com.
That's a hotbed of golf. I mean, you've got some world-class facilities down there. Do you get a chance to kind of get out and about and explore some other facilities?
Yeah, I've been lucky enough, especially being in the business, to check out a couple down in West Palm Beach, Jupiter area. Is probably some of the best golf that there is. I mean, it's incredible down there. You could drive down the road and find 10 elite level private clubs. So, one of my favorites, probably the Bears Club down in Jupiter. I was lucky enough to play there and check out that course. It's a great facility. It's probably why there's 40, 50 some PGA guys that are members there. And it was incredible. And then, not just down here in Florida, actually, my dream course is Muirfield Village. Grew up an hour and a half south of Muirfield. And I've been lucky enough to be there, and I got to play there and right before I moved down, and that's probably the highlight of my golf career, is Muirfield.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
That's one of the spots.
Have you did you get on the volunteer list? You gonna be a part of it?
I haven't volunteered there. My old director of golf, McLemore, had a little connection there, and he kind of pulled a couple strings for me as a little departing gift when I left McLemore. So I got to go visit some family up in Ohio before I made the move to Florida, and was lucky enough to stop by Muirfield and get the full guest kind of day there. Walked it with the caddy. Got to have one of their famous milkshakes, little tour of the clubhouse and locker room and all that stuff. So it was pretty cool.
What flavor milkshakes you go with?
Oh, I got the Buckeye.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Hot topic here on the show. It always goes back to the milkshakes. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
What'd you shoot?
Oof, I mean, if I remember right, it was an 80. I think it was like an 80, 87, 86, 87. So not my best, but
Yeah.
they were in the middle of a drought themselves, so it was playing pretty firm and pretty fast, and anything under a 90, I was going to be happy with.
Yeah,
And,
especially when you've never played it before, and it's a big course like that.
Yeah, so that was one of the highlights of my golf career, little golf career, you could say.
Yeah. Well, you've had some fun times working turf at some tournaments, though, because you got BMW, Waste Management, FedEx, St. Jude, and then you have Augusta National Women's Amateur, too. So was there anything really specific that stood out from any of those tournaments?
Outside of Augusta, I think, Augusta's kind of in its own class, when it comes to a tournament. Even the Women's Amateur, it was just everywhere I feel like is kind of organized chaos, a little bit of everything going on. Things changing up, and new volunteers rolling in every year, new people every year. But Augusta, I was lucky enough to get a spot there. I can't remember what year. It was right after COVID, so maybe 20, I think it was 21. I was lucky enough to be put on the Fairway Care team, so I got to, I was part of the Flying V at Augusta mowing fairways.
Nice.
But
nice. You have your tennis ball?
Oh yeah, had the tennis ball. Got to throw it once. I was pretty nervous.
No way.
Yeah. There was,
you got to do it though, right?
Tip.
If something happens.
Oh yeah, and it was something small. It was no big deal at all. Little pine cone had got caught up in a reel in front, and it was just leaving a little mark behind the mower. So had to break out the tennis ball and get that going, which kind of felt a little nervous about that, but it was good. And everything there was just so, I mean, to me, it's the best golf tournament to watch, to go to be at. Like it's just perfect. And then everything there is perfect as well. I mean, volunteer, everybody knows what they're doing. Everybody's more than hospitable at Augusta. People might think, oh, it's Augusta, like they're going to be uptight, and if you're not perfect, then you're going to get yelled at or anything like that. And it was a total opposite. It could have been the simplest question or the most complex question, and they would have answered it, just like, they were having a conversation with a normal person. And it was an unreal experience. The other tournament that I probably had the most fun at was the Waste Management at Scottsdale.
You got to have a little fun out there.
Oh, yeah. it's like almost like the polar opposite of Augusta. You got Augusta, no phones, kind of just there for golf, enjoying the tournament. And waste management, oh, you're there to party uh, before the golf. And I was on the data management team, or data collection team, running a TDR, moisture management, and all that. And day one or practice rounds weren't bad. Normal kind of 4 o'clock starts. Get out there. It was pretty cool. All the top guys are there. Got to meet a couple of those guys. Kind of asking like, what's that thing you're doing? Like, well, what's that for? So I got to explain to a couple of the tour guys what a TDR was, and that we were checking the moisture and kind of giving the reasons why, and all that stuff, how we do it. So that was pretty cool. Tommy Fleetwood was probably the most intriguing guy to talk to. He probably walked 2 or 3 holes with our group, kind of seeing how we did things while he was checking out the greens and stuff. And just had a pretty big interaction with him, which was really cool. And then Thursday, of course, we had a really big frost delay, which I had no idea that there was frost delays in Arizona. I was like, it's Arizona, it'll be great. It's high like 90 degrees, like it's not gonna be no frost. Well, I was wrong, and there was a pretty big frost Thursday morning. It's like an hour and a half delay. So Friday morning also had a frost delay. So everything got pushed back. I had to finish the second round on Saturday. It was just a cluster. Like it was chaos everywhere. And Saturday rolls around. I think they had a 7 o'clock start, and we had kind of switched up everything. I was on the front nine moisture, kind of going through all those greens, and we get a radio call. Like the back nine group was on 18, or they got stuck behind some mowers, or something happened. And so we actually went to 18 like 10 minutes before the groups resumed playing. And there's, I don't know, 15,000 people on 16. And, we just walked through the tunnel. Like, I've never been more nervous to check a green for moisture in my life. There's 15,000 people here watching you, probe the screen. They, cheering, yelling. Half of them are probably on beers 3 or 4 already. And so they're feeling good, and it's just organized chaos. And it was the complete opposite atmosphere of kind of what I was used to volunteering at tournaments like Augusta and stuff like that.
That's so cool. So is Tommy the guy? Because when I worked at the Canadian Open, he was the only player, him and his caddy, that came and talked to me. And it wasn't like, hey, man, what are the greens rolling right now? Like, they just kind of came over and were very casual about things, talking about things. Thought that was really professional and really nice of them, too, to just recognize we're out there doing work and we're human beings and, just asking about our lives and stuff like that. So that's so cool to hear you had the same interaction. Yeah. We're out there for a week, and he was literally the only player or caddy that talked to us. So cool.
Yeah, same thing. He was, I've always kind of liked him before that, but that kind of that interaction I had with him those couple of days, it was different. And, through, my previous golf course and a couple of friends I'd grown up with in Ohio, I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan, which can be painful at times, but, I've been, a buddy of mine got drafted by the Reds, and so I was able to meet and be pretty good friends with a couple of the Reds guys because they're the Chattanooga Lookouts are the AA team for the Reds, and so I'd have my buddy and a couple of those other guys up to play golf on their off days, and stayed in touch with a couple of the guys are still start for the Reds now. They're pretty big pieces, and have text conversations, and I go up to Cincinnati. They grab me some tickets and all that, and stay in touch with them. And that's probably one of the coolest things about my career and this industry is that it leads to relationships and friendships that you would never see or have if it wasn't for golf. And, that's, same thing with Tommy. Like, I'm not friends with Tommy Fleetwood, but, that those couple of days, it's like you realize that, these, athletes and celebrities and guys that, are the best in the business, they're just everyday humans too. And, Tommy really showed that, really down to earth, genuine conversations. And outside of all the golf and the, all that stuff, meeting the celebrities and building friendships and relationships with kind of people outside of the industry, is probably honestly one of the coolest things about this business to me.
That's a great perspective. This industry is all about relationships, that's for sure. So, tell me about the summers down there in Florida and kind of what do you guys close for a few months? Are you guys open year round? What's your schedule like?
A lot of courses will close just kind of one for 4 months at a time. We do it a little different here at Johns Island. Since we have 3 courses, we always like to have one course open. That way, if I think it's something like 80% of our members are from the Northeast, and so we're very, very slow in the summertime. But we still like to have one course open. So starting in, it's like the second week of May, one of the 3 courses will close for aerification. And then 2 weeks later, a second course will close. And then the third course will be the only course open. And 2 weeks later, the third course will close and that first course will reopen. And then it's just kind of like it's like a rotation. So every course is closed for 4 weeks. And then you reopen for 2 weeks, and we go through that process 3 times. So we actually just finished up our second aerification earlier this week. So we'll be closed for another 2.5 weeks. Then we'll reopen for 2 weeks. We'll be the only course open. And then actually the first week of September is when we close for our third aerification. Third aerification's very, very minor compared to the first 2. Maybe, do a verticut on fairway, a light verticut on fairways, tees, which our tees are pass palm. Forgot to mention that. So we have pass palm tee complexes, which is a little bit different than Bermuda. So, probably a little verticut on tees, probably a little light verticut or a solid tine on fairways, maybe top dress those again. And then probably maybe some sort of hole or a pull core on the greens as well for the third go around. But the first two are very, very aggressive down here.
What's your water like down there? You guys have some salinity issues or anything, or you gotta treat it all before it goes out?
Yeah, we our water on the west course isn't nearly as bad as the water on the north and south. They get a lot of reclaimed water kind of over there. They have really bad salinity issues. Most of we do get some reclaimed water, but most of ours is just pulled up from the well, from 2 wells. So for Florida, it's pretty good water. It's still not good water. But we have a pretty good fertigation system that we kind of put a lot of water softeners and stuff like that in, and then inject it into the irrigation as it goes out every night, which down here on sand where you can't run enough water down here. It's just, you can't. So we're running every night, and we'll throw some different products in to help with our water that helps a lot. So we don't have to flush nearly as much as the other side. We might flush maybe once a month, kind of in season. And then in the summer we're open enough and we're pulling cores and verticutting, so there's no real tie up from our water during the summers. It's mainly in seasons when we see our biggest problems.
We are back with another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring PhD agronomist Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. Our question today comes in from George Frost. What are good ideas for new superintendents looking to work with / hire an agronomist?
Awesome. Well, thanks again for having me on the show this week, Adam, and thanks again for all the end user submissions. Where we get some really great questions every week. So, George, your question here, I think from a, where do I start, square one type of deal, for a new superintendent, right? I'm always going to try to go look for an agronomist that probably brings a combination of that, university level technical experience if they can have it, and then also real field experience, right? They've, worked on a golf course or worked in some sort of experience where they've gotten some hands-on experience growing turf. And, ideally you want somebody that has that, background and understanding of soil chemistry, pathology, water movement, how fertility is going to work, but also has stood on for instance, a creeping grass green in the middle of July and had to make a hard call on how you're going to keep it alive, or whether you have to syringe or whatnot. So really, when I think of the best, agronomists, a lot of them don't necessarily prescribe products or programs. They ask really good probing questions, and then they help you understand what matters most about, your course, whether that be playability, labor, budget, and what your members are actually feeling out there. So I, look for new supers to look for an agronomist who can, help teach them, simplify, make you better over time, and not necessarily make you dependent on them for all the information that you're going to be using every day in your job. And, the right partner, helps accelerate your learning curve and gives you confidence in your own decision making. So I know for us, obviously, that's one of the, things with our products. If, you're working with us, we certainly try to offer that as a service, and a lot of folks do as well if you don't have a starting point. And then, of course, obviously, the USGA's, been offering agronomy visits from their regional agronomists for long periods of time, and obviously, great to work with as well, depending on your budget. So those are a couple, good options. But again, I think coming in it with the right mentality of, you're trying to get somebody that's going to help you, learn quicker and over time, take over that and not necessarily be dependent on it is the best, route to go.
Nice. So there's so much help in this industry. That's huge. And I like how you highlighted being able to talk to people at certain companies, because if you're spraying something or putting something out and it's important and you have questions, well, there are people working at those companies doing the research and kind of behind the scenes able to talk to you. And people at the Andersons are always available to talk their products or any other products. So it's a great service to have. This wraps up another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring Dr. Tony Goldsby from the Andersons.
So I wanted to just switch gears here and ask you a little bit about mentorship. So how important is kind of your role in helping them either land their next job or sort of advance their career?
So, it kind of, goes back to my last place at McLemore. When I was an assistant, they were kind of each not real sure what they wanted to do. Kind of similar situation to me, to an extent. They just didn't know what they wanted to do for their career. And at that time, I was in the middle of getting my certificate from Penn State, and I just kind of leaned on them, more and more, and to see if they could handle it, and they could. And then they finally kind of got around to asking the questions of like, what's this like, and is it possible to do this for a career? And I was like, yeah, like 1,000%. It's not easy, but if you really want to, you can do it. And then when I kind of got moved up to the growing superintendent, I took one of them as my assistant for the new construction, and he's still up there at that course. It's called the Keep, as the kind of the lead assistant up there, and he's in Penn State still going through that. And still they're two of my best friends, talk to him every day. And then the other one, he, same thing, kind of AIT, eventually got moved up to an assistant, at the Highlands course, did great. He got through Penn State, got a certificate and all that. And he actually just accepted a job, down here in, I think, close to Panama City, Florida. So he'll start down there in a couple weeks as a lead assistant. So, it was kind of cool just seeing them go from, just the crew guy, kind of like I did, to getting roles as an AIT, and then kind of being able to, spray things, and then being the main assistant, lead assistant. So, to me, that's just as rewarding as, putting out a top 100 golf course. Just seeing, someone younger than you kind of look up to you and want to get in the industry. and then helping them do that. It was, goes back to what I was saying earlier about just wanting to help others and help them out. So that's probably the most rewarding thing to me, honestly.
That's awesome. So what kind of culture do you guys have down at Johns Island? Obviously with 3 golf courses, it's got to be kind of tough to all be on the same page at the same time. So kind of talk a little bit about the culture, the work environment, and how you all kind of stick to the same or similar game plan.
The way I like to think of it is, I try to make everything sports related. It's just kind of who I am, playing sports growing up. So, for me, I look at it as, the director, Mike, the great guy to work for, learned so much, from him in the last year and a half, kind of the head coach. And, he kind of, calls all the shots, obviously, and gives us everything we need to succeed. And then as, the superintendent and assistant superintendent, we're kind of like the coordinators, making sure the day-to-day operations get done and making sure we have our game plan set, every day and kind of report to him. And, from a management side of things, we all kind of look at it that way. And then from the crew, our crew is, mainly, Hispanic and, Haitian. And so, obviously they're not big sports guys or, they're in the football, soccer, as we call it. So, trying to get them to pick up the things that we put down, can be challenging. But thankfully they've all been here for way longer than I have. And they've been a part of it. They've seen it go from, kind of a mid to high tier, private club to an elite level private club. And, they've been the main piece of that. And so it doesn't take a whole lot of motivation to get them to care about their work and put their best foot forward, which is extremely helpful. But then, that's just for us on the West course. The other side, it's same thing. Mike kind of holds down the fort over there and relays those same messages to the other management staffs on the north and south. And, being so far away from them, we don't get to interact with them a whole lot. Now, if they need some chemical or something like that, it's easy to help each other out that way. But, it all kind of stems down from the director. And, we got a great one here. And, he has his expectations for us on the West course, and the expectations on the North and South are the same. And, the club expects, the same that the director expects. It all starts from the top and just trickles down. And, if you have good leadership up top, and, eventually that'll work down to the superintendent and the assistants, and then we can trickle that down to the crew. And so, it all starts with the high up leaders, and if you got good ones, then it's easy to get that to move on down through the tree to the crew.
How many Dunder Mifflin references are there on a average day?
Oh, there's a few. There's a few.
Oh, that's
awesome.
Good. So who's responsible for all the rubber snakes in the irrigation boxes?
Oh, that would be my last director. I have a giant fear of snakes. Like
I'm right there with you, man.
If I see, like, I'm turning around on the golf cart or cart and going the other way. I don't care if it's a little gardener snake or a big rattlesnake or a water snake. Like wherever you're at, that's your land. I'll find another way around. And he got me once. There was a really old shop at our last place, and I was just a crew guy at this point, just middle of the renovation. We were pranking each other all the time, joking around, all that stuff. And our wash pad was just an old quick coupler, kind of covered up grass, weeds, dirt, all that stuff. And I grabbed the hose to go down and hook into the quick coupler, and I thought I seen something, but I was, that wasn't anything. And then it was the second look, as I reached down to turn the quick coupler on, I seen the little rubber snake, and I just left my stuff there. I made someone else wash it. I took off running. I was a 20-some-year-old, a grown adult at that point, running down the driveway. Like, no. And I let someone else wash it, and I just went and probably called it a day.
It's a heck of a prank, though, especially if you know the guy's got a little fear.
Oh, yeah, and especially being on the mountain.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It could be anywhere, right?
Yeah. We had quite a few rattlesnakes up there, and they'll let you know they're there before you really see them. But if you see them, it's like, oh, I'll go the other way.
Yeah.
No ropes.
No ropes, yeah.
Yeah, no ropes. Yeah.
So I guess the only other one we got to ask you about is the infamous poop story.
Yeah. So it is actually with he's actually the assistant that I took with me to the new construction. We were both just on the crew, normal guys. I might have been mowing greens or something that day. I think I was mowing greens. And we had a lot of members, walk dogs. We had a bunch of walking trails and stuff like that through the woods. And I found the little green little poop baggie that, people pick up after their dogs. It was unused, obviously. And I was like, oh, I know AJ's cutting cups. So I'll play a little trick on him. I had no idea it would have turned into what it did. But put some grass clippings in there and a little bit of water, and it made the perfect consistency. It was great. And put it down in the cup, and I knew I still had a little while before we got there to change the cup. We had a crew of 12 to 13 guys, maybe 14, and we were all, relatively close in age, kind of all friends outside of work. And I kind of got the word out, like, hey, make sure you kind of hang around 13 Green when AJ gets there to cut this cup. I'm like, why? I'm like, you'll just hang out there. And sure enough, I think we had almost everybody on the crew hanging out around 13, kind of watching through the trees. Ryan, our superintendent, our boss, he was there. He was he was into all that, the pranks and all that, just like we were, just trying to keep the mood light. And all of a sudden, like he kind of looks down there in the cup and he does like a double take, and then he shoots me a text or shoots someone a text. How, like, we're busy, we can't get out there. Like, you have to figure it out. And he stands there for a solid probably minute or two just looking at it. He's like, I don't want to do this. Like, are you serious? And finally, he kind of reaches down there and he barely picks it up and flings it, and he starts gagging and all this over in the woods. And he finally walks back to the green, and we all kind of walk out from behind the green, and we're all just dying. And he wasn't too thrilled about that one, but after he learned it was just a little bit of grass clippings, he eventually came around and thought it was pretty funny.
Nice.
But yeah, and that's the stuff like that to me is kind of what builds a good team. Now you got a job and you got to get it done. But every now and then, it's fine and good to keep the mood a little light and kind of mess with one another a little bit. And so it's the same thing that you do in a locker room, like a sports locker room. Just kind of joke with each other. Want to be friends. Want to get the best out of each other, but at the same time, you got to make everybody laugh every once in a while. And to me, that's a big key to making a really good, tight-knitted crew.
Couldn't agree more, man. We just went through it the other day. We're all standing around the shop, and my superintendent just says, hey, the old man's out on one of the vent tracks right now, and I caught him off his mower. So I went over and I lifted the seat up and I put it into turtle for him. And I've been watching him go around the course, and he's just going so slow and he's putting around. And as he's telling us the story, does the guy not come around the corner into the yard with the vent track just putting and turtle? And he's just got his arms up and he's swearing and everything. And he pulls up and we're like, what's the problem? So we explained it to him, and it was hilarious. It was perfect timing. But at that point, everybody kind of heard about it. Everybody was around, and it was such a great moment for everybody to be a part of something like that. And it was just so little, right? It wasn't even that big of a deal. What makes our job so much fun is being able to be so serious and professional, but also, have some fun with each other and keep things light. It's the best.
Absolutely. That's the, getting into this industry, nobody really knows what working on a golf course is like. They think it's, you probably just cut grass or, do all that. But it's so much more than that. I'm 29, and, some of a really good friend of mine that I still talk to every now and then from my last crew. I mean, he's old enough to be my grandpa. And you got, people from all different, cultures and backgrounds and all that. And it's just a really cool industry and business to get in. It's so much more than golf.
Well said. Well said.
Well, PJ, we usually leave the last few minutes for you, if there's anything you wanted to kind of talk about or plug.
Like I said, I've kind of been following you guys for a while now, and, seeing your guys' following on, social media. I think it's, great to see what you guys do and bring awareness to the golf maintenance side of things, especially with golf being as popular and blowing up as it is. There's new courses going up everywhere. There's, new people getting into golf, and, I think it's great that you guys are kind of spreading awareness and educating people on the basics of what it takes to maintain a golf course. It's, golf maintenance crews, they know how a pro shop operates, and, food and beverage knows how the golf shop operates. Everybody kind of knows how golf operates, but not a lot of people realize what it takes to maintain a golf course, and what you guys are doing. Whether it's, a little video on how to cut a cup, or mowing a green, or, watering, or anything like that, or podcasts like these. I think it's all great. And, I want to, thank you guys for having me on, and, thank you guys for, also growing the game of golf, which is something that I also want to do in my, personal career, get more people in. And I just think it's great to see what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you so much for the time today, man. It's been been an honor to get to interview you and learn more about your career and your golf course and everything.
I love it. PJ, thank you so much. Again, I appreciate your flexibility too.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Well, have a great weekend, PJ. Let us know if anything comes up, okay?
Take care.
Yeah, you too. Appreciate it.
This episode of Turf Today is brought to you by Standard Golf, proud to support the #1 conversation in turf. Superintendents know that details matter, and for 100 years, Standard Golf has been focused on the details that help courses stand out. From the new hammer strike hole cutter to the ST2000 aluminum and hybrid cups, bunker rates, tee markers, in-ground trash cans, and fully custom course accessories, Standard Golf gives your crew the tools to do the job right. Standard Golf is 100% employee-owned, American-made in Cedar Falls, Iowa, and trusted by courses around the world. So whether you're preparing for tournament play, upgrading daily course setup, or adding custom touches to make the course unique, make Standard Golf part of your golf course plan. Visit standardgolf.com or contact your local distributor today.
Alrighty, how's the drive going?
Still on course.
Nice, there you go.
Still on course. Only 5 hours and 38 minutes to go.
Well, once we're done, you can get into some of your murder mystery podcasts, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping. I think there should be a new Dateline out, so I should be good.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah,
they did. I know Foreplay did one with Ryan Fox. It was awesome. I listened to it this morning. It was really good.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So it was
Nice.
quick too.
Yeah,
It was just Kiz and Riggs.
oh, nice. Yeah, I should have a couple new ones. I'm assuming I've got a new golf subpar that should be ready for me too. So I should have at least 3 hours worth of content to listen to.
Guys locked and loaded. Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Well, it
Yeah.
was a good one with PJ. He's a guy that I've been chatting with for years on Turf Today. He's been a big supporter and everything. And I didn't realize where he went to in Florida was that big of a golf course. Like that's
Oh yeah.
that's one of those spots. If we ever got down there, it'd be pretty prestigious.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I've met their director, I believe, last year at the Open, at Oakmont. Good dude, hilarious guy.
Nice.
But yeah, that golf course is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So, and again, that area is just loaded with great golf, loaded.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. When we made the trip down there was so many different golf courses we could have gone to and all the different options and like high end and then just some of the fun ones and the munis. And, we end up going to the park and spend more time at the putting green than the actual golf course. I mean,
Look, it was a work trip, and more work gets done around the bar, so it all worked out great.
It makes more sense, yeah.
Yeah, made a lot more sense. So
Yeah.
we call that strategic planning, Adam.
Strategic planning, yes, sir. We'll have to do a little bit
Yeah.
of that coming up soon. We're going to see each other in Minneapolis, or I guess Bloomington, Minnesota.
Yeah,
A couple weeks.
Yes, sir.
Excited for that one?
can't wait. Cannot wait. Always a great time. It'll actually be my first time to Toro HQ, so I'm pumped.
I know. Me too. This is for the assistant superintendent experience that Toro does every year. I think they bring in, 30 assistants from it's now all over the world, right? I saw some courses from overseas
Yeah.
and stuff on the list. I was on the list, I think in 19, or 20. So it was kind of canceled and went online because of COVID and everything. So we weren't able to make the trip down. So I'm really excited to get to see just HQ, all the stuff they have going on, all the different people, get to meet all the different assistants. Like it's going to be a fun week.
Oh yeah, can't wait. Cannot wait to get down there and maybe swing the sticks at some point when we're over there, and yeah, just get to see everybody, all the assistants that come in, and then it's always a blast to be around the Toro team. They're just such good people, such a great company. So yeah, excited to see everybody.
Yeah, I was looking at the itinerary for the week, and it's just like it's one good thing after another. So it's not like there's any really breaks in the week. It's gonna be and they got all the meals and shuttles and everything. Like they do it up right, which is really fun. And you and I have our first on stage, no editing live performance, which is gonna be interesting.
Oh yeah. It'll be fine. It'll be great.
Yes. So I asked our community there for some questions, just for some viewer mail or whatever, and we got a bunch of different things come in. People, scenarios and what ifs and all this type of stuff. So we don't have to go through a ton of them today, but I thought if we went through a couple at each time, it'd be kind of fun. So the one I had picked out for you is somebody asked your favorite airplane or airport story experience. You must have one that sticks out.
Oh, my favorite.
Well, maybe just one that always stands out, like somebody getting thrown off a flight or something like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen a ton of that. I've definitely seen, people getting mad at, little kids, whether it's them talking or kicking the seat or something. That usually turns out to be entertaining. Airports and travel tend to bring out the worst in people.
It's a tough day. Yeah.
So yeah. So my favorite airport story experience was actually when I was a teenager. I was flying home from the GCSA conference by myself. Went down with mom and dad, and I had to fly home. I believe it was for basketball practice or basketball game or something. and I'm sitting in the Baltimore airport, and this huge entourage of people are walking through, and it was the Notorious B.I.G.
Oh,
and
wow.
and so all I had on me was my book bag to do schoolwork and all that. And back in the day, we used to wrap our textbooks with old like paper grocery bags. So I had the Notorious B.I.G. signed my math book cover.
So you actually had the balls to walk up to Biggie and be like, "Hey, can you sign my math book?"
Yes.
Nice, man.
Nice. That is my most memorable airport story, going back probably almost 30 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Awesome. That's one you don't forget about. Wow.
No, I will never forget that. I wish I still had the autograph somewhere, but I think all I had was the book and a pencil, and so it probably faded away after putting it in and out of the book bag a couple times. Right.
This is before camera phones and everything, right? So you tell people, "Oh yeah, Biggie signed my book," and they're just like, "Okay, bro."
Yep. It was unbelievable.
But that's a cool story, cool memory.
Absolutely.
Somebody wrote in asking about hockey locker room pranks, and
oh boy,
I mean a lot of that stuff you can't really share on the show. But when I read the question, there was one that stuck out pretty good. Back when I was 20, playing in the OHL, there were only 3 20-year-olds, so I was one of the overagers at the time, and I was already signed by Boston. So in hockey, you kind of have your rank, depending on where you played, how many games you've played, and all that kind of stuff. You sort of rank yourself on the list of your team. So I was right at the top. And we had training camp. We had some kids that came in, and they were not acting correct, I guess is the right way to put it. They were, very mouthy, and they're rookies, right? So there's a way you're supposed to act as a rookie. Yeah. And I just remember it was a big problem for a lot of the vets and a lot of the older guys in the team. And then we had this one kid who was the super rookie. Like, he was the leader of all these rookies. And he actually asked the coach, like, "Hey, I know this is the OHL, but like, has there ever been a rookie that wore a letter, like had an assistant captain or a captain on their sweater?" And the coach was just like, "You better go and sit down right now," like in front of the whole team. So just hilarious stuff kept happening. And, he had some nicknames and everything. Guys were fed up with it. So one practice, a few of the kids had the day off, and they ended up going out and putting his car on blocks in the parking lot behind the rink. It was so funny too, because he was so cocky about everything, and we were kind of building him up, like, just like, "Yeah, man, yeah, all this." And you go outside after practice, and his car's sitting there. He had like a Cadillac, I think it was like a Cadillac CTS or something. So, probably family had a little bit of money and just, a little entitled and everything. So the boys put that thing on blocks, and nobody helped him get it back. Like, it was not like, "Hey man, this is funny, we're going to help you." It was kind of like, "Well, sorry, you have to figure this one out yourself."
Oh, that's hilarious.
But yeah, there was a lot of pranking, and it was just every day. And the thing was, there was a lot of opportunities to prank somebody, but now you start a war, because as soon as you prank somebody, they're coming back to get you. And I was one of those guys that never really enjoyed having my stuff messed with. Like, don't touch my gear, don't touch my sticks, like, leave my stuff alone. And as soon as you started messing with somebody, they'd always go after your gear. And like, just your goalie gear was just not something to mess with. So I usually just kind of stay out of it, and would help. I a lot of times help and pretend like I had no idea what happened. But there was a lot of stuff that went on. And to be honest with you, I think the worst place for it was the hotel. Like, once you got to the hotel in some of these towns, it was just like the guys had the run of the whole place. Guys would be in the kitchens and behind the counters and stuff, and like, it was just
no. Yeah. Saran wrap on the toilet, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. I'm sure you heard of a leaner.
Yes.
Fill up the old garbage can, lean it against their door, knock on the door, and they open it up, and a lot of those. Or wake up calls. That was a fun one. You just go and say, "Hey, I'm in room 501. I need a 6 a.m. wake up call, and maybe call me at 5:30 as well. You know what? Maybe call at 5:30, and 6. So I'm up." Equipment managers, you get to the dressing room in the morning, equipment manager's like, somebody kept calling my phone all morning. I don't know what's going on.
That's wrong. That's so wrong. I love it.
Yeah, but it would never stop. So as long as you didn't start it with somebody, it just, you kind of stayed out of it. But man, yeah, some guys just back and forth. And unfortunately, being a rookie was always tough. I was a rookie for a few different years because I'd kind of be a rookie and move my way up, be a rookie again, move your way up. And it's just like, when is this going to end? But eventually I got there. Eventually you're one of the older guys and you're just like pointing fingers and a couple kangaroo courts in the dressing room. That's what it's all about, man. Like you look back on that kind of stuff, even PJ talking about having a crew when we were younger and they were all the same age and we all hung out outside of work. Like you may never have that again, and like playing sports and being on a team and working on a crew when you're all the same age, like you may never have that again. So having these memories, being able to have fun with each other and keep it light, like it's so important. So think about that sometimes when you're working at your job. You have people right now that are in that time of their life where they're really trying to have a lot of fun, experience life and learn things. And they're going to make a lot of great memories and a lot of maybe some mistakes too, but some good things that are going to help them with their life. So just keep that in mind when you're working.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. You ready for Turf Today first?
Yeah. What's going on?
I'm going through the drive-thru. I need some food.
Okay, you order and I'll try and guess what restaurant you're at.
Oh, yeah. All right.
See how easy this is.
They might give it away when I first roll up.
Maybe.
Will you be using the
See? I don't know. No, thank you. What can I do for you? Can I get a number 9 large with a Diet Coke, please?
Jackass.
That's it. Did you hear it?
A 9 with a Diet Coke?
Number 9.
That could be anything. I'm going to guess the Golden Arches, though.
You nailed it.
Nice.
You nailed it.
What is a number 9 in the States?
2 cheeseburger meal.
Oh.
Thank
there
you.
Go.
Yep.
There you go.
2 cheeseburger, 2 cheeseburgers, large fry, large diet.
Wrap it up to go,
perfect.
baby.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll be perfect. It'll get me through the next probably 100 miles, so I got to hit a rough stop.
That's awesome.
Gas up.
Well, I will let you go. That's a great way to end the episode and might even be a perfect teaser. Perfect hook to start the show.
Yep.
Oh, man. So much fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a glamorous lifestyle, I'll tell you.
I need to do that, too. I need to go eat something that time of day.
Yeah. Love it. Awesome.
All right, buddy.
Good job.
Well, it's a lot of fun. Have
See you,
fun.
Adam.
That's going to put a wrap on things for this week. Thank you so much to PJ for giving us a little bit of time and telling some stories. That was fantastic, man. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors and, of course, all of our listeners. You guys are the best. We appreciate all of the stuff coming in, all of the questions and comments and concerns, and it's the best. We have a lot of fun with all you guys, and we appreciate when you reach out. We've got time for everyone, so keep those messages coming in. www.turftodayshop.com is where you can get all different types of merch. Everybody, have a great week. We will see you next week for a fun episode that we have planned. Keep those reels sharp.
Your pretty little heartbreak, pretty little runaway. But you got your mini skirt, you're showing some skin. I think there's something going on, babe, between you and him. But you got your sunshades, you're showing your eyes. That I'm catching on, babe, to your disguise. Your pretty little heartbreak, pretty little runaway. Come on and hit me with your heartache. Your
nightgown. You're cursing my name all over my side of town. But I'll show up too drunk, get on up in his face, and we'll have it out, babe, in the middle of the promenade.